In the annals of Middle-earth, many tales have been sung of Gandalf's valor and wisdom, but there are stories still veiled in shadow, whispered only in the deepest corners of the world. Among these there is one tale that even the wisest of lore masters hesitate to speak of. A journey into the very roots of the earth, to a place where the light has never reached, and where the echoes of forgotten horrors still linger. Gandalf had known many terrors in his long life, but the darkness that surrounded him now was more profound, more ancient than anything he had ever faced. After defeating the Balrog, he had plummeted into the depths of Moria, far below the deepest minds of the dwarves. Here the air was thick with the weight of ages, and the silence was heavy, broken only by the occasional distant drip of water. He had stumbled upon a network of tunnels, their walls smooth and dark, carved by unknown hands in a time forgotten by history. As he moved cautiously through the labyrinth, his staff emitted a faint glow, casting eerie shadows that danced on the walls. The air grew colder as he ventured deeper. Gandalf's instincts screamed at him to turn back, but curiosity and a sense of duty compelled him forward. He had heard whispers of these tunnels, legends of shadowy, enigmatic entities that predated even Sauron. They were said to be nameless things, ancient and malevolent, perhaps the creation of Melkor himself. Suddenly the glow from his staff flickered, and Gandalf felt an oppressive presence closing in. He stopped, listening intently. The silence was deafening, but within it he sensed movement, a slithering, creeping presence that seemed to seep from the very walls. A chill ran down his spine as he saw them, shadows within shadows, dark forms that moved with a fluid grace, their outlines barely discernible. They were like living darkness, voids that sucked in the light, leaving nothing but an empty, hollow blackness in their wake. Gandalf tightened his grip on his staff, his heart pounding in his chest. He had faced many evils, but these creatures were different. They had no form, no substance that he could strike at. They were fear incarnate, the essence of darkness and despair. One of the entities drifted closer, and Gandalf felt a cold dread wash over him. Its presence was suffocating, as if the very air was being drained from his lungs. He raised his staff, summoning what strength he could, and a brilliant light burst forth, illuminating the tunnel. The nameless thing recoiled, its shadowy form twisting and writhing in the light. For a moment Gandalf thought he saw eyes, deep, hollow pits that seemed to stare into his very soul, but then the light flared brighter, and the creature vanished, dissolving into the darkness. Gandalf took a deep breath, steadying himself. He knew he could not linger here. The nameless things were not bound by physical form or space. They could strike from anywhere, at any time. He needed to find a way out, to return to the world above. As he pressed on, the tunnels seemed to close in around him. The walls were alive with whispers, voices that spoke in a language he could not understand. They were the voices of the nameless things, ancient and malevolent, echoing through the ages. He quickened his pace, his staff blazing like a beacon in the darkness. But the shadows followed, relentless and unyielding. Every now and then he caught glimpses of them, flickers of movement at the edge of his vision, dark shapes that melted into the walls as soon as he turned to face them. His strength was waning, but Gandalf pressed on, driven by the knowledge that he could not allow these creatures to escape into the world above. They were a threat unlike any other, a darkness that could consume everything in its path. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he saw a faint light ahead. Hope surged within him, and he hurried towards it. The tunnel opened into a vast cavern, its ceiling lost in shadow. At the far end, a narrow shaft of light pierced the darkness, illuminating a rough-hewn staircase that spiraled upwards. Gandalf climbed the stairs, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The nameless things were close behind, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. He could feel their hatred, their hunger, nipping at his heels. But he was close now, so close. With a final burst of strength, he reached the top of the stairs and stepped into the light. The shadows recoiled, hissing in fury, unable to follow him into the brightness. Gandalf collapsed to the ground, his body trembling with exhaustion. He had escaped, but the memory of the nameless things would haunt him forever. They were a reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the world, a darkness that could never be fully vanquished. As he lay there, catching his breath, he knew that his journey was far from over. There were still battles to be fought, evils to be confronted, but for now he had survived, and in the depths of the earth, the nameless things retreated into the shadows, waiting for their next chance to strike.